no apology. It's righting the wrong. A whole different animal here, which includes admitting what was behind my behavior that I was blind to at the time. It's not complicated. It's simple because it's that personal assessment, or they call it the inventory. This is why it's man disease, because it's the subconscious. It goes undetected. There's not even an awareness.
Welcome to Aloha Speaks, home of Malama Aloha Pono with Alexander Noman.
Aloha, Alex here. And the topic of man disease was originally supposed to end with part 3. But the reason there is a part 4 is because of my own level or degree of resistance, which Malama Aloha Pono is based on. In my judgment, and it's inspired by a meeting. I just got back from an AA meeting, and in my judgment, in this meeting, just like in pretty much every single meeting I go to, the other people in the meeting are not as resistant of being there as I am. I tell my sponsor, there has never been a time from the day I went in that I have not resisted being in the meeting. That doesn't change the fact that when I leave, I'm glad I went every single time. That has happened every time. But I hear from people that they look forward to going to the meeting. That's not the case for me. And there's a line that says, some are sicker than others. I used to see that in print, and I don't know where that is. I have read many books, but I can't find where it's in print. But people say it's some are sicker than others, and they're usually talking about someone else. I'm not the others. I'm one of the sicker ones, and I know that to be true, but it's not in a self-deprecating way. And it looks like the work that can be done in AA or any other 12-step program could be for the purpose of self-deprecation, because, look at, and they even call it character defects. I do not. I don't change the word and call it character flaws. I don't even go there. It's for the purpose of ego deflation. That's what works for me, because part of the sickness is the overinflated ego that gets the best of me, which doesn't work out well for my relationships. It doesn't work out mostly well for this relationship, the relationship with myself, and it bleeds into other relationships. So I'm not trying to replace any 12-step program with Malama Aloha Pono. I've never tried to justify Malama Aloha Pono, and I'm not doing it now. It's for the areas of major resistance for someone as sick as I am, because it's a sickness. There's nothing wrong or bad about a sickness. It needs attention. So my word I popped in here in red just before I got going is, in single quotes, medicinal value. The medicinal value of this man disease part 4 being admittance out loud. Because I didn't really get into that, since I try to keep this short. there's a little tiny review here in that I did talk, I think it was in part 2, about there's segment, this is really going after segment 5 for the first time, or I'm sorry, well, it is going after segment 5, which is they call it amends in the 12-step programs, but it's righting my wrongs, because a lot of times it's thought, oh, an apology is needed. No apology. It's righting the wrong. A whole different animal here, which includes admitting what it is that where I was coming from, what was behind my behavior that I was blind to at the time, because I did segment 3, or it could have been considered step 10 or step 4 in the 12 steps. It's not complicated. It's simple, because it's that personal assessment, or they call it the inventory. Okay, those questions. But the reason it, for the first time, addressed deeply segment 4, the subconscious, is because this is why it's man disease, even though it has nothing to do with gender, because it's because the subconscious is so powerful in doing this. It goes undetected. There's not even an awareness. Even if the awareness comes that, oh, I'm in hot water over this, usually it's a conflict, it's going to be an apology that has no value, because it's not sincere, it's not authentic, and it has nothing to do with changing behavior. And what was said back in that, when it was talking about the subconscious, I think in part 2, is because way down there beneath the subconscious, there's a lie. On page XXVIII, they cannot differentiate the true from the false. It's talking about the drinking, but it's any addiction. That's what's behind it, this lie. But what is the lie? Because that's talking about the substance. But when it's dealing with recovery, there's never any talk about the substance. It's talking about this, what they call self. But it's the false self. The heart is the true self, but that's not even accessible at this time, because it's being blocked by this false self that's buying the lie as the truth. So in this subconscious that in Malama Aloha Pono gets into it, that the other doesn't, not trying to be therapizing, just saying, that the inability to admit, because if I admit I am wrong, way in the subconscious, it's saying I do not exist. That's that's what it equates. Admitting I'm wrong means I do not exist. And it takes for that to be owned by and seen as the lie, so that it can be negated and seen as a lie, so that the truth can be, no, that's not true, takes a really exquisitely adept facilitator to bring someone, whether it's a man or a woman or someone identifying as binary, it doesn't matter, really adept facilitator to get someone to that, to have the entire being grok that it's a lie, and that's the lie that is connected to that inability to admit wrong. So, in the absence of that, the value, the medicinal value of, like it said in part 3, making the assumption in the state of upsetness, I am wrong, just I'm going to stop everything and simply go to those 4 questions and answer them. It does deflate the ego, but by repetitive admitting the wrong, and then it said, go ahead and admit that also to the other person. There was a step skipped. And that's this. That's this right here, the medicinal value. Page 84, and I'm using this because this book was written only 5 years after Bill W. got sober. Actually, it was 1939. Yeah, because he got sober in 1934. 4 years after the inception of AA. So they didn't have everything all together. It was in a general way, but on page 84, which is step 10, where they're doing the daily inventory kind of a thing, continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. This is the daily thing. Then it goes off into, when these crop us, we ask God to remove them. It's because it's a Judeo-Christian based thing, and they were in that. But I can't. I have to do something. It's like God's not doing, there might be God doing for me what I can't do for myself. That's a saying and all that. For sure, I am blessed. But I'm not a religious or spiritual person myself. The thing is what is my thing to do? And the next sentence says, I discuss them, those issues of selfishness, dishonesty, self-seeking, and fear, with someone immediately and make amends quickly if we have harmed someone. And I'm in the midst of harming someone because I'm causing someone suffering along with myself in the process of a conflict. The reason I do share it with someone is so that I can check myself. Am I being objective or subjective? And especially in the beginning stages of learning this self-assessment or inventory, I'm not being 100% objective. And my sponsor, that's why the 12-step program works so well, because the sponsor is, how do I have it written here, is an, do I have it even written here? Even if I don't, is objective and a non-interested person, and not invested. That was the 3 things. Objective, uninvested, non-interested party. They're not being paid, the sponsor. And they have to have some experience. My sponsor has 35 years sober, been around a long time. My first one had 20 years. For me, they got to have some time and experience in the program to be able to not be swaying me. Just say, do I have this? Or am I still pointing the finger in my writing, because I'm writing these answers? And I, in the beginning, was getting caught all the time. Now, I'm only getting caught once in a while, but I still check first. That has the medicinal value because I'm saying it out loud to the sponsor and then saying it out loud to the affected party that I am making an amends to, that in my initial state believed they owed me the amends. You better apologize to me. Apologize. You better admit you're wrong. Wow. What a beautiful reversal of reality. And it's no way of knowing the medicinal value until that behavior is exercised over and over and over again for years and years. Okay, time to shut up. Aloha.